What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Today's video is going to be on this Taranis QX7. I've had this thing for about a year now, and I think it's time that I've made some changes to it. It's been a great radio, but the gimbals aren't all that great. The throttle stick is kind of squeaking now. It's been used and abused, so I'm going to go ahead and upgrade the gimbals. I have the M7, in which I'm going to use for my pitch and roll. And then I also have the M7R Gimbal, this one here, which I'm going to use for my throttle stick. I haven't seen too many videos on this guy. The throw on it's a little bit shorter than the M7 gimbal, so it's going to be quicker as far as the throttle response and everything else goes. And I got to tell you, these things feel amazing compared to the gimbals that the QX7 comes with stock. So I'm going to go ahead and replace those. Those should be a quick switch. I also have some new stick ends here, which I'm going to put on, a kickstand, and then the mod for the rechargeable battery. So we'll go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is install the gimbals. So in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and remove the battery tray cover, the modular cover, and go ahead and remove these 4 screws here. Okay, now we've got these 4 screws all loosened up. Be careful when you pull this apart. You don't want to lose your screws, and then these pins right in here, you don't want to bend these pins here as you're pulling the cover off, so just be super careful. Go ahead and remove that, and then we'll disconnect the connector here for this battery tray. Like so. And we'll set that aside. So here you go. This is what the inside looks like. And there's 4 screws on each of these gimbals that hold the gimbals in. The wires run through these cable tie downs here. We'll have to unscrew these, remove these 4 screws in each of these gimbals, and pop the connectors off, and the gimbal should come right out. So go ahead and do that, starting with these wire bundles. Go ahead and pop these things right off the wires here and get these right out of the way. Perfect. I'll go ahead and just disconnect these gimbals right now so that when we unscrew them, we can just pull them right up and get them out of the way. These things are in there pretty good. It may take a little bit of force getting them out. Like so. Alright, now we'll go ahead and remove these 4 screws. Alright, so that's the last screw for this gimbal here. We're going to go ahead and just slide the gimbal out. Go ahead and pull these wires out here. Like so. And there you have the gimbal. I'll go ahead and remove the other gimbal here. I'm just going to go ahead and unwrap this wire here ahead of time and get this right out of the way. Like so. I'll go ahead and remove these 4 screws, and we'll go ahead and get this gimbal out of there. Alright, there's the last screw there. Go ahead and slide this gimbal right out, pushing the string back down into place. And there you have it. Both gimbals are removed. Alright, and here you have the new M7 gimbal. This is the one that I'm going to be using for my pitch and roll. Right here are your adjustment screws. This one here is for the ratcheting. You see the little notch there. You tighten this down, it'll give you the clicks. I personally don't like the clicks. And then this one here is for your smooth control. You can adjust the tension of this by just turning the screw in. Alright, I think I like that. So I'm just going to drop this into place here. Like so. You want to make sure you're not pinching any of these wires. Get this wire bundle down here. Just want to make sure all your wires are clear. And you're not going to pinch anything as you tighten this down. Drop that into place like so. Those wires look good. That's good. Alright, we'll go ahead and drop these 4 screws in, and we'll get this tightened up. Alright, we got these 4 screws in. I'm going to go ahead and tighten these down. And you want to be careful when you're tightening these, not to tighten them too tight, because this is plastic that you're screwing into. And if you just tighten them too tight, you risk stripping them out, and that's going to cause all kinds of problems for you. Alright, so now that we have that in, we'll go ahead and plug this connector in down here. And you'll see, when you go to plug this in, that these pins here tend to hug one side. So you can see that they're hugging the bottom side. There's a lot more space up towards the top. And same thing with the connectors down here. You'll see there's more of a gap down towards the bottom here, and the pins are riding up towards the top there. So when you go and install this, just make sure you have this facing the right way. Alright, that connector's in place there. Looks good. It does take a little bit of force. Just make sure you hold the other side as you're pushing it down. You can use a screwdriver or something just to kind of push in the sides here to help you out, being careful not to destroy any of these wires. Now, one thing I don't like about this is that these wires are a little bit tighter than the stock gimbals. They could have made these a little bit longer. I don't think I'm going to be able to fit these back in the clip for the wire bundle. Maybe this one here, but this one I'm gonna leave loose just because this one tends to move with the stick up and down, and I really don't want to be putting any kind of tension on this and damaging it. So we'll go ahead and get this one out of the way. We'll go ahead and wrap these wires back up. Alright, there you go. Wires are in place. All 4 screws are tightened down. It's looking pretty good so far. So now we'll go ahead and install the throttle. Alright, now that I have this throttle stick set to where I like it, I'm going to go ahead and drop this into place here. Again, keeping in mind of all the wires, you want to make sure that they are all out of the way and that you are not going to pinch anything as you install this into the transmitter. So that drops into place like so. Go ahead and reinstall these 4 screws. Okay, we have that installed there. That looks good. Now the same thing on this side as the other side. I don't really want to put that wire in that wire bundle just because it's a little too tight for my liking. I think I can leave this loose. I don't think this is going to harm anything inside the radio. So we'll go ahead and get these clipped down here. And there you have it. Installed. All 4 screws are tightened down on each of the gimbals. The wires are routed back through these wire bundles. Connectors are plugged in, and everything looks good. Flip this over. You can take a look at the front. These things feel good. Make sure they're adjusted to your liking. You don't want to go ahead and close the back of the radio up and realize that, well, the gimbals aren't adjusted to your liking and then have to open it all back up. So it's definitely something you want to check on before you put this all back together. And that's it for the gimbal installation. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and install this rechargeable battery connector. This is going to plug in here to where normally you would plug in either your AA battery tray or a LiPo battery. I've always used the AA battery tray just because the thought of removing and installing this so many times to charge your battery, I just felt like I would end up breaking this connector off, and I didn't want to do that. So now that I have this connector, I'll be able to plug this into here. This will sit inside the battery tray, battery will plug into here, and then this here, we're going to go ahead and drill a hole in the case, set this in, and then your charger just plugs in here, charges up the battery. So we're done with this for right now. We'll go ahead and get this out of the way. Here's your old AA battery tray. As you can see, it just kind of came through the back. This is the connector that plugged in. Make sure you don't lose your screws for this. So we'll get these out of the way. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and drill a hole right in here. You definitely want to leave yourself enough room to where it's not so close to either edge. And make sure that you're not going to run into anything in here. So maybe I might move this out a little bit. So we're going to go right in here somewhere, I'd say. Right there looks pretty good. Just kind of line this up on there. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole and I'll come right back. Alright, and we're back. I do have my hole drilled out. I did use a 3/8 inch drill bit. It was just a shy bit small, so I just kind of ran it around in there a few times to open it up enough to where I could get this guy in there. And we'll just go ahead and slip this guy through. I did have to bend these wires a little bit to try and get this to squeeze in there. The hole is a little tight, so I'll go ahead and get that in there. These wires through there, and then this here just slips into place like so. So now we'll go ahead and get the nut on. The nut's just going to slide over all these wires. I actually want to get this one on first because this one here is a little tight, and this one here you should have plenty of room to get this one on. So it's just going to slide through like so, and then you'll slide these down over the wires and you'll thread it into the back of this connection just like so. Alright, so you got this snugged up. There's your connection right there. Little plug to fit over the end there to cover it up when you're not charging. There are the wires. You can go ahead and just run these through here for now. We'll get everything plugged in once we get the two halves of the radio back together. So there's your connection. This here does come with a an extension on it. I don't think you're going to need it. You should have plenty of room with the wire that's provided on this. If anything, you might need to use it for your battery, depending on which orientation you want to have your battery. If the connector is going to be over here, then you might want to plug this in and run it over here. But I think we should be all right. There should be plenty of room with this connector and the lead that comes with the battery. We should be able to plug this in, no problem. So I'll go ahead and set that aside. And should be ready now to go ahead and put the two halves of the radio back together. Double checking, making sure you don't have any loose screws kicking around in here, that you got all your hardware back together for the gimbals. Everything's tight, looks good. We're going to go ahead and slide this back together here. Being careful of these pins here, you do not want to bend these pins when you go to put this back in, otherwise if you were to get a module, it's not gonna plug in. So here's that. And you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and actually run these through to the other side here, since this is where the battery connector is over on this side. So I'm gonna run those through there. And this one here should be good in there. Perfect. So we'll go ahead and put this back together. Like so. That looks pretty good. We'll get our 4 screws back in. Alright, we've got our 4 screws back in, tightened up. We're going to go ahead and plug this in. Like so. Just like that. And then we'll go ahead and plug our battery in. Like so. Drop the battery into place. Go ahead and slide our battery cover back on. Module cover. And there you have it. So we got the new gimbals installed, which feel absolutely amazing. We have our charger installed with the new battery. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and install that kickstand. Okay, after I get everything installed, one thing I did notice is this battery tends to flop around a little bit in here, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't find some double-sided tape to stick down on here and stick this battery to, so it's not flopping around so much. It's going to get annoying. So you can, I'm not sure if you can hear that flopping around in there, but we'll go ahead and do that after. I'm going to go ahead and get this kickstand installed, and we'll see what that looks like. So first thing we have to do with this, we'll set the radio aside. Go ahead and remove these 4 screws here. Alright, so we have those 4 screws removed. We're going to go ahead and take the radio. I'm going to slide this down to the top. It's going to rest right in those grooves. We'll go ahead and reinstall these. Before you tighten these down all the way, you just want to make sure that this is centered. That looks good right there. We'll go ahead and tighten these down. And we'll go through and we'll make sure that all these screws here on the sides are tightened. Which one thing I did notice with this is you can see these screws here sticking out the side, where these ones are recessed. It looks like these ones here are countersunk. I'm not sure if they just didn't countersink this side or if that's how it's supposed to be. Let me go ahead and pull one of these out and take a look, see what it looks like. So it does look like they countersunk this side, but I don't think they countersunk it enough. It looks like there might be more of a countersink here on this one. Not sure that I really like these screws hanging out the side, but what are you gonna do? Go ahead and get this back together here. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove this battery cover. Pull this battery out here. I'm gonna stick that to the side, and I'm gonna go ahead and take some of this Scotch double-sided tape, and I'm gonna lay some down right here in the middle and see if that helps with this battery flopping around in the back. Peel this backing off. I'll go ahead and lay this battery back down into place like so, and stick that battery to it. Make sure your wires are tucked out of the way. Go ahead and get the back on. And I think that's secured a lot better than it was before. It's not really flapping around anymore. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and put these new gimbal sticks on now. I will leave links to all of these items that I installed on this Taranis QX7 in the description down below if you guys want to go ahead and check that out. Go ahead and pull everything out of this case here. And I'm going to go ahead and loosen these guys up here. We'll go ahead and remove the stock gimbal sticks that came with it. Definitely want to hang on to that set screw there. So this here is going to slide down into place. You're going to thread that on. And then you'll take the top half and thread that on. So that threads on like so. And then you're just going to adjust these to the height that you want, to the height that feels comfortable. Alright, I like it. I'm going to go ahead and reinstall this set screw like so. And then we'll go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. And I'd say it's looking pretty good. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, how much less throw this has over the stock M7. Feels pretty good. These are definitely a lot better quality than the stock gimbals that come with the radio, and they look a lot better. Alright guys, sorry about that. I had to stop recording and start over again. Had some things I had to take care of, but this here is the final product. You can see I have the new gimbals installed with the stick ends. We have our charger port installed with the battery, as well as the kickstand, and I just went ahead and threw some heat shrink on these switches just to dress it up a bit. But we're going to go ahead and turn the radio on, and we're going to go through a quick calibration of the new gimbals. As you can see, the throttle's all the way down. You're getting this throttle warning, so we'll go ahead and exit out of that. We'll hit the menu button here, and we'll page over. There should be a page for the calibration, which is right here. You'll see calibrations, page 9. And we'll hit enter to start. And I'm going to go ahead and set the stick midpoints. So we'll go ahead and set this to the center. This one's here is already centered up. And we'll set these here to the center. That's centered, that's centered. We'll go ahead and click enter. Alright, and then you're just going to move all the sticks around to the endpoints, making sure you get all 4 corners. So there's that. Go ahead and do the pitch and the roll. I'll go ahead and move all these. That's all the way down and up. As well as this. Perfect. I'll hit enter to stop it. We'll exit out of this. Bring that throttle back down. We'll shut her down. We'll start back up with the throttle all the way back. We shouldn't get that throttle warning. Perfect. And there you have it. She's all calibrated and finished. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and drop a like. Feel free to comment. If you want to see some more content in the future, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And until next time, thanks.